It is time.
What is it time for, Profit?
It's time for an episode of the Command Grab.
Ooh, episode 1 of the Command Grab.
Episode one. And it's part of the new series that we're going to be doing, separating games and anime from the pro wrestling section. And this is the games part.
We actually got a kind of exciting show this week also when it comes to gaming. A lot's going on.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot going on. We got EVO. We had the Diablo 4 Spiritborn class reveal.
Mm-hmm. Some new
We had a
content
bunch
dropped
of
in Destiny.
Yeah, new content dropped in Destiny. We had a bunch of Evo announcements already as of today because we're in Saturday. Was it Saturday the 20th? So it's finals day for a bunch of games today, and they've been announcing stuff.
Just to time gate this even more, the finals for King of Fighters just ended.
Hmm.
So if you're lucky and if we're recording long enough, we might get another random live reaction of another random thing that could be happening. Who knows?
Who knows? Shit can happen any minute.
It happened just now. No, I'm kidding. Didn't know nothing. No, we're
The
good. We're good.
hell it did.
But the way we want to start this off is we realized we never really gave a proper introduction when it comes to the games that we like and things that we just like in general when it comes to games. So we came up with a few questions just to ask each other, just so we can have them, so you guys are also aware of like where we are when it comes to games, what we like and what we don't like. Well, mostly what we like. I don't think we're talking about what we don't like, really.
Yeah, for the most part, no.
So, I'm gonna ask the first question. I'm gonna actually ask it in a random order. Good luck, Prophet.
I always ace the test.
Oh
Always.
yeah. First question is, what are your top 3 games of all time?
Top three games of all time.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good one. So, okay. So my top three games of all time is Mega Man 3. Mega Man 3 is literally what made me want to become a game designer as a kid.
Oh snap.
Um, the game was just, I love the levels. I love just everything about, like in general, Mega Man's the reason I became a game designer. So, thank you, Capcom. um, another one is, uh, another one is StarCraft.
Mm-hmm.
StarCraft was StarCraft Brood War, the whole series. That got me into. Well, I played Warcraft when I was a kid, but I really didn't get into RTSs until StarCraft. And lo and behold, like years later, after playing StarCraft, I would go and work for a company that does RTSs. Go figure, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I definitely put StarCraft up there. And my last one is my favorite. Like out of all the games I've listed, this is my favorite game of all time, and no game has will ever top it. And it's Chrono Trigger.
Ooh.
Um, Chrono Trigger is by far, in my opinion, the perfect game. There's no JRPG out there that will ever be on the scale of how good Chrono Trigger is. It's just the game is amazing, and one of the reasons why it literally had the dream team of RPG creators. Had to had the creator of Dragon Quest, had the creator of Final Fantasy, um, you know, had Akira Toriyama as the artist. It just had everything.
It was like
Oh,
the Avengers of JRPGs. Honestly, like everyone came together for that game. Also, like that was arguably you could say that was like kind of like before their prime also. So you kind of got an idea what all of them could do, except for Toriyama. Toriyama was kind of already doing his thing at that point.
Mhm. Well, actually, you know what? I think like guys like Hinobu Sakaguchi and things like that, they were they were they were in their prime because like this is around the time Final Fantasy VI hit
Oh yeah, that's
also.
right.
And like if this game would have like if this was like a top four, Final Fantasy VI would be like, or if I could do a tie, it would be like Final Fantasy VI in like Chrono Trigger because like they kind of go hand in hand for me.
I think that's fine. I think this is our list. We can do whatever we want. You're allowed to do that.
well, then first place is a three-way tie because there's three JRPGs that I call to me I call the like the square trilogy.
Uh huh.
It's Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy VI, Super Mario RPG,
Okay.
and I played them in that order. I played Chrono Trigger first because I was we one of the few times I've ever been on vacation. We went to vacation. My parents and I went to vacation to Hawaii when and we went to Ala Moana Mall, and it was the first time I ever been to an EB.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to EB, and they had these. My mom was like, "Hey, do you want to buy it?" And I was like, "Oh, okay, sure." And the two games that caught my eye on the wall: Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy VI,
Mm.
right next to each other. And talk about like one hell of a decision to make because either game is like one of the best JRPGs of all time.
Yeah.
And well, I was heavily into Dragon Ball, so I didn't know Akira Toriyama did the art for Chrono Trigger at the time, but I chose Chrono Trigger. And pretty much the rest is history. We moved to America. I went to Blockbuster. I rented Final Fantasy VI, and later on rented Super Mario RPG, and I was like, man, I could have won with either choice. But by far, by far, even though I say like those games are kind of like like a three-way tie, Chrono Trigger will always be first
Mm-hmm.
because it's just it was just even as a kid when I played it, it's just one hell of an experience.
I get that. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. So what
Um.
are your three games
Uh.
of all time?
All right. Mine. I'm gonna start with the first game I ever really played. That I literally probably wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that game, and it's Persona 4. Persona 4 is really the first game I've ever really sat down and played. I had to save money. I forget. I think a friend told me about it. Like he told me about it. This was after I watched One Piece. I had just caught up to One Piece, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he was telling me about this game. Obviously, it's not really related to One Piece at all. But he was like, "Oh, you've been liking character-driven stuff, right? You should probably check this game out." It's like, I don't play video games, you fucking nerd. What are you talking about? Um, I saw the game. I was like, "Oh, you know what? I gotta try it." So I saved up, got a PS2, um, ended up getting the game and a PlayStation, and I played it, and I just was amazed the entire time. Is it the best game? Especially the OG version of 4? No. But man, I would not be here right now if it wasn't for Persona 4. My next game.
That's
Oh, go ahead.
that's a good game that's a good game to jump into though because like just think about it. Like you had a certain view about games at that time. Right?
Mm-hmm.
What a way to jump in than something that had a mature theme to
I definitely jumped in on the deep end. That's for damn sure. The first game I ever played was 100-hour game.
it. Right? Like but it had a mature theme and like the story was that shit was dark.
It really was. It really was. Like this. The first time I sat down and played through the game, uh, I without it's a 20-year-old game now at this point, whatever. But you know the first body that you see on the light pole that's like faced upside. You play Persona 4, right?
I've played about 20 hours of
Oh, okay. So then you did see this then. Like after they go into the TV world for the first time, there's like a body that's like upside down on like a light pole, and it was fucking as a child to me that was freaky, bro.
it.
Like, and I stuck with it. I played through the entire game, and it was an experience, that's for sure. Like I will never forget my first Persona 4 experience because it was really my first real video game experience. It was great.
Yeah, awesome.
The next game is also very important to me because of just actually both of these are really important to me because of the people that have like put me on and around them, stuff like that. My second game is going to be Super Street Fighter 4. Actually,
Oh,
yeah. Not for the gameplay because I'm not really that big of a fan of Street Fighter 4 anymore. But it was again the tone. This is the first fighting game I really got to sit down and really play, and this was at my old job. Like we would sit around a TV and we would play, and that's how I learned how to play Street Fighter through them. And then I went to locals because I wanted to learn more about Street Fighter because someone at my old job was saying, "Hey, I go to PSG, I go to Press Star Gaming. You should come with me. We'll do locals." I went to go do locals, met a bunch of people there, and it literally sparked my quote unquote professional career for fighting games for like what six? Oh my god, like 6 or 7 years.
nice.
Oh my god, that was what 2014 when I started. No, 2013. No, yeah, 13, 14, sometime around there when I started playing Street Fighter, and I, I just stuck like the plague.
Nice.
And then we'll go into the third game. The third game, again, not for the game, but mostly for the experiences. I'm gonna say Destiny 1.
Destiny 1. Oh,
Destiny 1. There are too many days where I can remember this. I would go to work. We would talk about Destiny. We'd talk about things that we would do. Then I would go home. I would make my dinner, and then I would get like the basically the bat signal text saying it's time. It's like, okay, let's go. So we would sit and damn near every day for a good 2 years would just be playing Destiny. And I would never forget a lot of the experiences that I had. Beating Vault of Glass for the first time, like 2 weeks after it came out. Being Forever 29 also kind of sucked, but it was fun because my friend was also Forever 29. Beating me and my friend, we two-man Crota
oh,
when that
nice.
first came out. That was a thing. We did a lot in Destiny 1, and it just those experiences I would never forget. That's mine. Like my games are mostly for honestly for the experiences I got, except for Persona outside of the game.
Mhm.
That's my top three.
Nice. Yeah, like I had similar to your Destiny one, like I would, for me, if yeah, if we had more on the list, it would probably be World of Warcraft for me that would be up there
Mm-hmm.
just because of pretty much the things that you listed. Like used to hardcore raid in that, used to like um met a lot of people through raids, shitty and some shitty, some not shitty. You learn a lot about people, right?
You really do. It's crazy.
Yeah, like going through MMOs, you just learn people. It's the funny thing about games is people can't hide what they are. They can try, but eventually a lot of their you'll see all of their characteristics as they play,
Yeah, you really do.
and that's like one of the interesting things in just in general playing an MMO. Just like you see people that are politicking and stuff. You see a lot of background stuff. It's kind of crazy how it happens, but yeah, it's very interesting too.
You get a lot of things out of that too. You can see somebody's like leadership skills. You can get that from there too, right? You can people network sometimes through MMOs. Like Destiny is a perfect example. Like a few people have gotten jobs from Destiny. People have gotten jobs from WoW, from Final
Yep.
Fantasy 14. Like there's a lot. MMOs for sure are just like they're like second life experiences. And I know a lot of people, and I can understand why a lot of people don't really get fully into MMOs. I really didn't before Destiny either, right? But you really
Mhm.
do learn a lot about people and honestly about yourself playing through an MMO.
Yep.
All right, man. Second question, which the genre one would be good here, but I'm not gonna ask that one. Uh, what are your top 3 games so far this year as of July 20th, 2024?
Okay. Tekken 8
Uh huh.
is one of them. As I've played that, I've thoroughly enjoyed that game. Um, and it's also because like it's the first Tekken you can actually learn. It's like everything's not fucking hidden like it has been in the past 7 games. So yeah, that's made it a lot more fun and a lot more enjoyable.
Yep.
So for sure, Tekken 8. Um, I want to say, let's see here.
You know, while you're
Hmm.
thinking, I can tell you that Tekken 8 was also on my list. Um,
Oh no shit.
yeah, bro. Basically for the reason that you were talking about, like, this is the most accessible Tekken that there ever has been, right? Like, I don't have to go and find tutorials online to play the game. I can just play the game and learn how to play the game. I've tried playing Tekken 7. I've tried playing Tekken Tag 2. Uh, and they can never stick because there's not you have to find a guru and then find a YouTube page for your character and figure things out. You don't have to do that in Tekken 8. And I know people have problems with how Tekken 8 is. I know a lot of people don't like how like rushdown heavy it is, how offense heavy it is. Um, but I think that's more of fighting games in 2024 rather than Tekken 8 changing because games kind of have to be a little aggro. Like every game, like EVO's going on right now, every game is very aggro right now that's on because that's just the way of fighting games right now. You know, there's nothing you can really do about that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Let's see. I would say the other game is Unicorn Overlord.
Ooh.
That was the experience of that game is so unique that like it has vanillaware. It's you know one of my uh one of my all-time favorite genres, which is we'll get into later, but strategy RPGs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was just a great mix of like everything. And it's beautiful. Like it's a really cool game. So I like that a lot. And I would say the last one, if we're going by games that came out this year,
Mm-hmm.
I want to say Dragon's Dogma 2.
Ooh. Okay.
Because that game is so expansive, man. It's huge. Like you walk around, you're like, damn, this is a big ass world, man. Like, and there's shit going on everywhere. Like, you could be walking, you could be, minding your own damn business, and the griffin comes out of the sky and it's like attacking buffalo on the side and eating them.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you could jump in and attack the griffin and fuck him up. Like, it turns nighttime and spirits come out and start, chasing you down and shit. And you have to decide whether you want to fight them or do stuff like that. Or
Mm-hmm.
there's big ass dragons you can fight. There's just, you know, you can walk somewhere and bam, you're in some random dungeon.
Yeah.
It's just, there's just shit everywhere to do, but it's all cool. It's all like pretty thought out.
Okay. You got a hot list. All right.
Yeah.
Um, I've already said I've already talked about mine. Tekken 8 was one, right? So I'm not gonna rehash on that. I also kind of gave my reason earlier. I'm not gonna rehash on that. Game two is Atlas. Persona 3 Reload is my top one of my top games this year. And it's not even. It was just nice to be able to go through Persona 3 again. Honestly, like spoiler alert, game hasn't really changed much. Like the story isn't that different. I think people were expecting it to be like drastically different. It's not. So if you played it before, and if you don't want to play it again, if you don't want to quote unquote sully your experience from only being able to control one character and stuff like that from PS2, albeit, but it was nice to see the story come back, and it was nice to see them do what they did and make it more, just make it a little bit more modern. It was nice.
Yeah. I believe it or not, I have not played Persona 3 yet.
You you should play Reload. I'm happy I didn't give it like an actual spoiler.
I have Reload, so I just literally have to play it.
You gotta find the time. I played on Merciless because all the Persona games specifically, I don't play Shin Megami Tensei games on Merciless or whatever the hardest is because I'm not insane. But
Yeah, you're not a crazy
yeah,
person.
no, no.
Don't
The
play SMT on the hardest difficulty. You're insane.
God no. That's not for me. Persona games you can because those games are a little bit more easier just by default. They're even three. They kind of toned down the difficulty on three a little bit. There's still a little bit in there, but Merciless wasn't too bad. Like Merciless, you take like I think you take like an extra like 20% of damage, and you do like 40% less damage. I'm still melting people. Like it wasn't that big of a deal, right? But it's definitely one to play. Just need the time really because it's an investment. I think my playtime was like 110 hours.
Okay, that's not bad at all.
Yeah, you just need the time, but it's really good. It's worth it. It still holds up as probably one of the best Persona stories.
Hmm. Okay, okay, yeah, I for sure want to check that one out.
And my third game is another RPG because that's just where I am this year. Is Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth.
Yes,
It's hard to believe
actually.
that game came out this year, but it did.
Oh, wait. See, you know what? I forgot about that because it came out before Dragon's Dogma 2. So
In
I'm like,
January. Yep.
Dragon's Dogma 2 can go to hell. Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth is my last one on my list. 100% for sure.
I think if Chrono Trigger is the perfect RPG, like just in general, I
Mhm.
think Infinite Wealth is the perfect RPG for today's age.
Yeah,
Honestly.
there was nothing missing in that game. It was the story was on point. It flowed pretty good. It had everything a Yakuza game has. It was funny. It was serious, and when it got serious, it got really fucking serious.
God, it
Uh,
did.
and it just had the twists that of course a Yakuza game has, and then it was also the I'm just gonna put air quotes when I say the end of a main protagonist's story.
No.
That's why I put the air quotes because I don't want it to end. Kiryu's gonna be 100 years old,
You know what?
like 1,000.
You know what? Spoiler
What's up?
alert. We're gonna talk about it real quick. Real quick.
Okay, let's talk about it.
This is a spoiler alert for Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. If you don't want to hear about spoilers for that game, if you haven't played it, what the hell's wrong with you? Play it right now. But we got to talk about it. We got to talk about the end of the game because I don't think we've talked about it in a while, right? I think we talked about it after we beat the game
Hmm.
months ago.
Yeah,
Sitting on the ending, right? Uh, we're Kiryu's coming back. He got one more game.
he's just gonna do the Vince Carter. I got one more in me. Uh, yeah, like man, the end of that game, and when he got rolled in there because throughout the game he was kind of like he was being a stubborn old man for the most part.
Kiryu being Kiryu.
He was like, "No, if I die, I die," right? Like type deal. As it kept going, getting closer and closer to the end, he was like, "Shit, you know what? Maybe I should, think about doing everything I can to live."
His little bucket list.
Yeah, the bucket list, which was, poof, that was a thing in itself.
God, it was.
Some of that was kind of rough to do, but because it's his bucket list of, here's the things I want to do before we die,
Mm-hmm.
right? And as you're doing it, it's like, ooh, this is rough. Um, but a lot of those stories that came out of the bucket list were, oh man, there were so many good callbacks, like you know, Fighter, showing up. If you guys don't know who Fighter is, he's the ever since I think it's like they added him in Zero, and he's been in almost every Yakuza game. But he's the guy that's like the announcer for the mini racers, and he wants people to do pocket racing, all the time. So
Yeah, his little pocket racing league.
yeah, and like most of the games you could do the pocket racing league and race to the top, and every time you have to go against him at the end. So there was a lot of cool callbacks.
The one of my favorite ones was seeing Yuya and I forget what his the other guy's name is from the club.
Oh, right, yeah, yeah,
Just seeing them out there, they're 85 years old, still doing things at their host club, being wholesome now. It was nice to see them again.
yeah, yeah. It was nice to see a lot of people. It was nice that a lot of the stories. Again, this is why the Yakuza universe is so damn good. Some stories that you've done in a different game have a way of showing back up in this game, in a current game, or being finished off in a current game. You saw the story with the little girl, um, who's now an adult now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if from six, you put on the Onamichio costume to get her to get the surgery
Yeah.
before she died, and in six, she puts two and two together that you're Onamichio. But you find out that she lives, that she got the surgery, she lived, and now she's doing stuff for the future.
Yeah, she was in like high school or something like that, right? I think. I'm pretty sure.
I think it was like the end of her high school, and she was like about to go to college.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it was good. Like, yeah, it was just that's why that universe is so damn good.
If I could if we did like a top, you know what? I think we should do like a top 5 of games of all time because I think I would have to Yakuza would have to go in there for sure, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Not even
Well,
just one game, as the whole series.
I would just put the series like Yakuza series
Yeah.
there.
God, maybe we have to circle back to this again. Like once when we're gonna be doing a game of the year.
Oof.
The Command Grab Anime Games and Pro Wrestling Podcast Game of the Year awards.
Yeah. Oh man, that's gonna be. Oof. There's a lot of great games this year, so it's gonna be tough.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, Kiryu's coming back. We're gonna see him one more time, and I think the next game, which was quote unquote expected to be announced soon, is gonna be his last game.
Well, it sounds like they're announcing it in a few weeks.
Yep.
And they also got the TV series that's going to be on Amazon.
The guy playing Kiryu is the same guy who played I forget what his name it was, but he was Kamen Rider Drive. Kamen Rider Drive is one of the. We talked about this before. I think Kamen Rider Drive is one of the best recent Kamen Rider series.
Mhm.
He's very good in that show, so I fully expect him to be good as Kiryu.
Yeah. At first, when I saw a picture, I was like, man, I don't know. And then when they showed him like standing next to people, I was like, holy fuck, this guy is tall.
No, bro. Like in the Kamen Rider series, like it's hilarious because he's easily over 6 foot, right? He's tall, right? And
Yeah.
he's kind of lanky a little bit, but
Mhm.
when he's in scenes with people, it looks insane. And then when they put him in the suit, in the Kamen Rider suit, right? He
Yeah.
shrinks by like a whole foot. Hilarious.
But it's like, no, when I saw him, I'm like, okay, he could for sure be young Kiryu because, like, literally in the Yakuza games, Kiryu towers over people.
Mm-hmm.
He's just the guy is a beast. he, he towers over people and he just like outpowers everyone, which I still don't understand in the Yakuza games. These random people picking fights with Kiryu,
They did it for years
especially
too.
yeah, especially like after he became the chairman.
I think that just goes to show like how dumb some people are because
Oh yeah, yeah,
you would get into fights back to back. Like one, he would pick up a whole motorcycle and hit somebody with it, and you would run up a block, and then someone will be mad at you again. Like you didn't see what I just did to that guy back there. Like he's in the ground right now because I just crushed him with the motorcycle, and I took a street sign and knocked out his boys. You want to fight me too? Okay.
yeah. Like like hey, wait up, and they're just chasing after you. It's like he's the fourth chair. He's the chairman, right? He used to be the chairman of the Tojo clan, which means he's a bad motherfucker. Why would you mess with this guy?
He was the chairman. He didn't even want to do it. He didn't even want to be the
Yeah,
chairman.
he just wanted to beat some sense into people, and then he just like, all right, give it to Daigo, and they left.
Yeah. Ugh. All right. Um. Our we had one more question.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're gonna ask it anyway.
Yeah, go
Uh,
ahead.
what are your top three genres that you enjoy playing? Not of all time. Your top three that you like to play.
So number one is strategy RPGs.
Mm-hmm.
That's by far like my favorite genre. Um, Two, I would say fighting games.
Mm-hmm.
I just, yeah, I love fighting games. And three is probably um, between. There's subsets of each other. It's RPG, but it's action RPGs and JRPGs.
Mm-hmm.
They're kind of like intertwined because you get something like Elden Ring, and it kind of fucks you up because it's both of them.
Yeah. More action RPG with I guess if you want to call it RPG elements, but I don't like RPG elements as a term because people that's just people using an excuse to put skill points in something. Oh, it's an RPG. You have skill points. No. Anyway, um,
Yeah, Elden Ring is about as hardcore RPG as you can get.
exactly.
Well, no, for an action RPG because it's like the highest character building that you can do. Um, and every point that you do matters. It's literally like putting your points into a D&D character
Mm-hmm.
and then going out and doing your thing. So it's it encompasses all of it. But yeah, those are my three favorite.
Um, I probably should have thought about this because I knew I was gonna get this question. I feel like you already touched on two. Most of the games I talked about so far were RPGs, so that has to be up there, right, by default. Like, because
Yeah.
I love RPGs. I'm not gonna try to break it down because I love turn-based RPGs. I love strategy RPGs. I I play action RPGs, not as much. I love RPGs just in general. Put an RPG in front of me, as long as the story is good, as long as the characters are good, As long as I can build, fine, right?
Yep.
Um, Second one, fighting games. My 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 guy on here is Balrog. Like since podcast episode 1, like my screen has Balrog on it, right? So I'm gonna put that there. Third is actually tough for me.
Really?
Yeah. Um. So RPGs takes so much, right? A lot of the shooters I play kind of have like RPGs. Like I play Destiny 2, right? It's more MMO, right? But still, you're still building
But
a character.
do you like shooters in general though?
Uh,
Would you okay, so not enough to be like that's my favorite.
like I'm gonna play Call of Duty once Black Ops 6 comes out, right? But as a favorite, probably not. I'm trying to think of like 'cause we play everything, so third is hard for me. Um,
Would it be sports?
no, because sports games suck now.
Yeah, this is true.
Although shout out to NCAA 25. That game's pretty
But
great.
yeah, I've been seeing a lot of footage of it, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna get into that in about a week or so.
You might as well just hop in. You know what? I'm just gonna throw out a random third. I think because I think that would just be easier, and it's probably gonna change next week anyway. Um, I will go FPS. We'll say first person shooter. I'll just throw that in there.
Well, you could just say shooters in
Shooters,
general,
yeah,
because you cover a wide base with that. Not necessarily FPSs.
yeah. Because I do love myself some Gears of War. Um,
Yeah,
I'm not as big of a fan of Call of Duty anymore. I really just play the Black Ops games. Um, I do, yeah. I would just say shooters, and then eventually I'll change it to something else.
yeah. Because like, have you seen Space Marine?
I
Space Marine 2?
I have. I'm excited to play that game actually.
Yeah. So like, yeah, it's a third person cover based style shooter. Yeah, you like shooters.
Actually, you know what? No, I'm gonna go crazy. You know what my third one is?
Oh fuck! What we got?
Gotcha games.
Oh fuck! That
Yep,
would be like on my list too.
yep. I'm gonna do it. You know what? Because I have a problem. Just
Oh no!
just with loot in general. I said RPGs, ARPGs are in there, right? So we'll put those in there also. But I have a loot problem. And luck is never on my side. I can't I don't get drops in anything. But because I'm stubborn, I will play them and I will still actually not put money because I haven't even put money. I said I was gonna put money in Zelda Zone Zero. I haven't. I have almost every character though. I'm missing like 3 somehow.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, we'll put gotcha games in there because I enjoy gambling a little bit.
Oh man! Oh yeah! Gotcha games is a problem.
Yep.
I got like shit. No, I ain't even gonna count how many I have on my phone right now. I'll just it's higher than 10. But yeah, there
It's
we go.
it's gotten to the point where once one has a PC release, it's automatically downloaded. Like I have so many dumb launchers for so many dumb games right now. It's stupid.
Have you played the solo leveling one?
No, but I want to. I have it.
Oh my god!
It just got 20,000 downloads, right? So now is a good time to actually like I'm gonna delete my version of it, re-download it, and then get those rewards for 20 million downloads.
Bro, like that game is really good. Like besides it being a gotcha, like as a game, it's actually good.
That's how I feel about Zenless Zone Zero. Like, is it a gotcha game? Yeah, but it just as a game, it's pretty solid.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna download that right after this. I'm gonna delete my account that I have now and try to get them 20 million download rewards.
Oh shit.
But yeah, man, that's all of our questions.
Nice.
hopefully the crowd has gotten to know a little bit more about our gaming tastes. I feel like they know a lot about our wrestling tastes. They don't really know a lot about our anime tastes, but on whenever we do our OVA episode, we'll probably do this again so people can like get a nice little understanding about what we like and what we don't like.
Oh yeah, they're gonna hear about the ultimate trash genre. That's my favorite.
Man, you know what? I can't wait till we actually do an OVA episode because we need to have an intervention about you in that genre of anime.
It's the best.
It's taking over your life.
It's the greatest.
You watched an
Hey,
anime about
one
a
of those.
vending machine, bro.
Hey, bro, the show was actually good. It was actually way better than I thought it would be. I thought it was gonna be shit, and then I was like, "Well, I'll be damned. I'm
see,
actually enjoying this."
this is why it was a good idea to separate everything because now we're gonna have a lot more time to talk, especially anime, because anime was kind of getting like the short end of the stick just in general in our podcast. But now we're
Yeah,
gonna have a lot of time to really sit down and talk about this kind of stuff. It's gonna be so good.
yeah, we're gonna sit down and talk. And we're gonna get into it because, yep, yeah, it's the best. The best genre.
Mm, mm.
Next to shonen is the best. Dude, me saying that alone probably triggered like so many people. Just like shonen is the best.
I can already hear a bunch of people screaming right now. I can hear it through my headphones. It's crazy.
Ah, yep, it's powering me up right now.
They're like, you should watch Oshinoko. Like, no, I don't want to. No, thank you.
No, do they power up? No, I don't give a shit. Then.
Yeah, no, we're out.
Does it have a training arc? I'm out, dude.
Do they have a tournament arc? No, I didn't think so.
Oh yeah, well, that anime is trash. It has none of that.
That's right, Shonen Elite. Anyway, let's get back to let's get back to this is the command grab. Oh, this is gonna be
Mhm.
good. I can't wait. This is gonna be so good. All right. We're gonna get into our gaming topics for the day.
Okay.
I think I think we could probably just go in order. I don't think we have to pick because the first three are just SNK stuff anyway. Honestly.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, so first up, as we were talking about, we're recording this on the 20th. I don't know when it's gonna come out, but we'll talk about that later. Uh, SNK did a few announcements after their King of Fighters 15 finals, which congratulations to Xiaohai, who again is just dominant in King of Fighters.
Hmm.
He's forever dominant. Uh, they did a couple trailers. We'll talk about those first, and we're gonna talk about one that they announced on Friday. Uh, SNK. Wait. The name of why did they name it this? Wait, hold on. So, okay, sorry. So for those who can't see, because I'm pretty sure you can't see it, the actual name of the video that we have is SNK versus Capcom SVC Chaos, and it threw me for a second because I didn't. I got to see like a little bit of the trailer, but I didn't actually get to watch it. So I'm gonna sit down and watch it while we're talking about it.
Yeah.
But why did they name it this? Why did they do this?
So there is some relevance to this. So you know how the Capcom versus SNK games have Capcom first versus SNK, right?
Uh huh.
That means that game was done by Capcom. It's Capcom's version of Capcom versus SNK.
Oh my god.
SNK versus Capcom is the reverse. SNK doing their version of the crossover.
Oh my god.
So it was like you remember how we got Street Fighter versus Tekken or Street
Yeah.
Fighter cross Tekken.
Yeah.
The other game was supposed to be Tekken cross Street Fighter,
Which never released
which never released. They did it in their own way and just put Akuma in their game in seven.
and made him broken for 5 years.
Yep. So yeah, that's the reason why.
Oh my god. So that means I didn't really get to see the Balrog. Oh
Yeah,
god. I
Rob's in
didn't
there.
I didn't get to actually see the trailer. I saw it outside of my eye when we talked about it before we started recording the podcast. So now that I'm actually watching the trailer, um yeah, I need this. I need this a lot.
Mhm. It was a fun game.
This is a something we got to talk about right now. Um along with this available now.
Yeah, it came out today.
Bro, what are we doing? Why are we recording this podcast right now? What are we doing?
Uh, because it's more, the game will be there.
The podcast could be us playing the game against each other right now.
Could be, but that's another episode. That's the after hours.
But some that I actually really want to talk about now that I actually got to see the trailer.
Mhm.
Um this year Capcom, SNK and Marvel seem like they all have gotten their shit together. And we're getting a like who would have thought that this not only would this be out, but it was a shadow drop. Like
Yeah,
they released
yeah,
that today.
yeah. It's crazy, man.
So this is what I'm gonna say. For those people who are very into Capcom versus SNK 2, I know some of you personally say like that's your favorite fighting game of all time, and you don't even really play fighting games like that. Um, you should probably buy this. And I'm talking about buy it right now. Like I'm actually while we're talking, I am on my phone. I am buying it right now.
How much is it?
Here, let me go to Steam. Here, I got you. I got you. But the fact this is crazy, and
Yeah,
they shadow dropped it.
like SNK so far has been like they've been on point, man. Like they're bringing all their games back. They're bringing their franchises back. They've been, you know, they're not afraid to collab with people now. Like yeah, it's kind of crazy. And Capcom, same thing. Like Capcom's been like, okay, let's do it. They pretty after Ono left, they finally got the organization that they needed to do what they wanted to do. They weren't held back, and you could see it.
Bro, it's actually it's crazy. Also, by the way, the game is $20.
Okay, that's not bad at all.
That's it. $20.
That's not bad at all.
I would have paid 60.
You're a madman. It's because you saw Balrog. You're like here.
Honestly, yeah. They put that part of the trailer for me. I think he was even getting beat up too. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, he's pretty good in that game. He hits like a fucking truck.
As he should. Oh wait, no, there's a hitbox viewer. Ooh.
Yeah, all the stuff they didn't have before, and rollback.
And rollback. Oh yeah, okay. So these collections are actually crazy because now we have this. Did you get a chance to we're actually just going to use this time to talk about the other ones too. Did you get a chance to see the gameplay for Marvel 2 in the Capcom versus Marvel's Capcom collection?
No, the stuff that Justin Wong and Justin Young and Yipes were doing.
Yeah.
No, I didn't get to see it yet.
Can I tell you?
Go ahead.
It's the arcade version of MVC 2.
Oh, so they're actually using the arcade version.
The arcade version, like to the point where there's no rematch. You like back in the day, you got to go back and you got to select your characters.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Okay. So they went all the way with this.
They put the version of MVC 2 on the collection.
That makes it the definitive version.
Yeah. And you get 7 other games.
Yeah.
And then you have this. You have the SNK versus Capcom game that we're talking about right now, also that's out today.
Oh yeah, and just go back on the Marvel vs. Capcom collection. I was wrong about the price. The price is 49.
That's also really cheap for 8 games. That you
It's really cheap. That for games that if you were to buy those individually on their systems is about $1,500. So
Yeah, Marvel 2 alone is 250, 300 depending on who you find and where you get it
yeah,
from.
yep.
It's just I really enjoy the current landscape of fighting games right now. I know we're just talking about SNK and Capcom here, and I know this was just released, and I know I'm very hype about it. Like it feels like I took a shot of, I'm gonna say coffee. It definitely feels like I took a shot of something else. But the fact that we're getting these collections right now is, it should be a fighting game player's dream.
Yeah, like especially if you're like one of the players like me, one of the older players like me that like lived through the fucking fighting game drought. When they're like after Third Strike, where there was nothing, almost like nothing. You say there was Tekken, but all
Eh,
right, as much as I like Tekken right now, right? I'm gonna say this, and it'll probably make people pissed off, but I don't care. No one gave a shit about Tekken.
I mean
Okay,
it's true.
like Tekken was still going. Yes, they made a new iteration every year, but the truth of the matter is, when there was no Street Fighter, no one gave a shit about Tekken. When Street Fighter came back, that's when people cared, and I'll stand on that. On that opinion. Shit, I even got into a verbal shouting match with somebody over that.
No, I
It's just the truth.
no, I fully agree and I fully understand because, again, I wasn't really into fighting games until around like 2013, 2014, right? So I never really got a chance to live in that era, but I know a lot of people that have lived through that era who still play professionally to this day, right? And
Yeah,
a lot of them were talking about how it was going to, like, not even Evo, going to like B3 or B5, whatever it was called before Evo, and going places like that, and then just uh playing Third Strike for like 5 years, right?
yeah, yeah,
Like that's how it was. Even the fighting game scene, the FGC was down at that time, right? People were playing Marvel, people were playing Street Fighter, people were playing Tekken, sure, but the renaissance that people are dealing with when it comes to fighting games didn't happen until Street Fighter 4 came out.
yeah. The current Renaissance didn't happen until Street Fighter 4.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
And again, no one gave a shit until that game came out.
it's ridden away to the point now where Evo, which is going on right now, has 10,000 people alone playing. More than that now. 10,000 unique people playing in a tournament. You know,
Yeah,
that's crazy. That wasn't, this is new. Like this, none of this stuff was happening before. And again, it is because Street Fighter 4 came out in 2009. Like we wouldn't be
yeah.
on this way if it wasn't for Street Fighter 4.
And if we go all the way back, Street Fighter 2 started the original Renaissance that led up to Third Strike,
Yeah,
which Third Strike is when it died, but still, like, up to that point, after Street Fighter 2 came out, there was literally fighting games coming out like every 6 months to every year,
yeah,
right? Like,
yeah.
so, yeah,
The GFCC wouldn't even be a thing right now if it wasn't for Street Fighter 2. Like it wouldn't.
no, no, not at all.
That's why it's really, we should really take moments like this SNK game coming out. And if you really want new versions of these games, you gotta show support. Like you gotta buy these games.
Yeah, like one way, either now or I know there's a lot of people that wait for sales and stuff like that. You can do it then too, but for sure, show some support for the games because your money is gonna be what tells them to continue making these games and make more.
Like for example, like a lot of people really want a Darkstalkers game, right? That collection came out, nobody bought it. We talked about this before on an old episode of the podcast, right? You and
Yep.
I have copies, but
Hmm.
I can't tell you a lot of other people who own a copy of the Darkstalkers collection. I can't.
Yeah, and we're talking about the collection. It's called the Capcom Fighting Collection.
Yeah, Capcom Fighting Collection.
Yeah, that also came with Red Earth, which, if you guys have never heard of Red Earth, you guys should just look it up. It's what is the craziest Capcom game, probably Capcom fighting game ever made.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. So you know what? I'll even go further back from that. Right? I have the Capcom Fighting Collection, but also on PS3 and Xbox 360. I have the Darkstalkers collection on there that they released on those systems.
Oh damn.
Um, and just a little shout out to people that still have a 360. It's $1.49 right now on Xbox 360. Go to the Xbox store and buy it. It's not a backwards compatible game, unfortunately. So
Yeah, sadly.
in about 2 weeks, the Xbox store is going down. Like the 360 store is pretty much done. So this is like your last shot.
Man. Um, but yeah, it just we are in a very incredible time right now that all these games are being released. A lot of your, and by your I mean the audience, your favorite games have a chance to come back now.
Yeah.
This SNK collection is $20.
Hmm.
$20. Just if you really want these games to be coming out, you gotta support. You gotta.
For sure. For sure.
All right, man. Let's move on. We're gonna go to. I guess it's our first time gonna be breaking down a character, right? I don't think we've ever broken down a character before.
Ooh. Kevin Wright?
Yeah, man.
Yeah. That's gonna be fun.
So after the SNK versus Capcom SVC Chaos, I the name is still throwing me. I can't get over that name. After SVC Chaos was announced and I guess available to purchase, which is still insane. They released a new trailer for a new character for Fatal Fury, City of the Wolves, which is a game that's gonna be coming out next year. The character's name is Kevin Ryan.
Yeah.
I don't know a lot
Um,
about this character, so Profit, this is you, bro.
okay, so Kevin Ryan, he appeared in Garo Mark of the Wolves. That was his first entry into pretty much the Fatal Fury series.
Hmm.
And for those that don't know about Garo, Mark of the Wolves, that was in a sense their third strike, right? Like that's where they had the main protagonist Terry Bogard, pretty much passing it on to Rock Howard. The new, he's Rock Howard, which is Geese Howard's son, and he's pretty much Terry's son now. But whatever. uh, he was pretty much passing the torch to him, right? So, um, so yeah, like, and with that, they started adding a whole bunch of new characters to the series. So Kevin Ryan is one of them, and where he is supposed to be is he's a cross between Ralph and Clark from the King of Fighters game, so
Mm-hmm.
or otherwise known as the Ikari Warriors, for those of you that are old school. Um, and as you'll see in the trailer, he has a combination of both characters as far as like what he does. He doesn't do the grapples like Clark, but he kind of has he kind of has the mix ups that Clark has, but then he has like the rush down of Ralph and like the really hard hitting power moves and of course setting people on fire when he punches them.
And Loki set himself on fire too. I'm looking at the trailer, and after he blows people up, he has a little bit of fire on him too. It's actually really cool to see.
Yeah, so that's him getting fired up because he's one of those characters. It's like, yeah, I'm fired up, and then he just goes crazy.
He's like a shonen protagonist.
Yeah. But at the end of this, though, there's the craziest thing because he tosses a grenade in the air and is going to punch him in the face with the grenade and then blow them up.
Nah, this character looks sick as hell. Like the way I see it, he definitely looks like a I hate using bruiser because bruiser is so broad now because every character could be a bruiser, right? But he definitely seems like one of those rushdown bruisers that I like to play a lot.
Yeah, like he's gonna. The main thing he does is if he gets in and if you mess up and he like counter hits you or anything like that, you're gonna be in a world of hurt.
Oh yeah, that's my character for sure. Then
Kind of like kind of like Ralph in a way. Like once Ralph gets in and he makes you fuck up, you're dead. He's gonna punch you and he's gonna set your ass on fire and you're done. And then he's gonna mix you up.
this is so this is so interesting. He looks really dope too. Like I wish I knew character but like buttons. I don't know buttons, so I don't think we'd be able to do a breakdown like that. But he
Yeah.
definitely seems like a really fire character. Jesus Christ, no pun intended. Oh my God, what is happening?
Got the puns going and everything.
I blame SNK. This is their fault for the
Yeah.
goddamn crossover game we just talked about.
Oh man. Yeah, but like he looks fun, but I gotta play the boy Marco.
I feel like this is gonna be one of those games where I play a few characters because Marco does look dope too, right?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna have to just sit down. I'm gonna have to learn a bunch of characters. I think I'm not gonna have a choice.
Yep. Well, and for people that don't know who Marco is, in Garo in the American version, his name was Kushnud Butt. And whenever you did the versus screen, it was Butt versus Terry, and it was like, what? What's his name? Butt?
I'm happy we're not in those days anymore. We get normal names now.
Yeah.
Oh
And
God.
so that's Marco, and yeah, he's doing that Q Konokin karate style. So he's a karate guy, so I gotta pick him.
Oh, you know what? Funny enough about Fatal Fury. The game is playable right now at Evo. So there are a lot of people who are actually getting a chance to sit down and play it.
Yeah.
I don't think they're playing Kevin. I think they're playing. I think there was 5 characters, if I remember correctly, that are
Yeah,
in the
because they,
demo.
they added. There was one that was added. It was like he wasn't really bald head. He had a shaved head.
Yeah,
Yeah, that character. I forget his name, but that was the newest character. So yeah, I think it's five
I think
because
so.
Terry, Rock, Jeanette, um, the Muay Thai kickboxer girl, Kushnud. Oh wait, there's six. There's one more character.
But
Yeah,
I don't think they're all in the demo though. The one that's at Evo right now.
yeah. Oh, huh. Yeah, I thought the six were in the demo. It could be the five. Yeah.
I think it's the 5. I'm not sure though, actually.
Either way, that's dope as hell.
All right, man. We got one more announcement to really talk about. Um,
Okay.
this one actually happened yesterday. It's actually kind of
Yeah.
like a double whammy. I guess to explain really quick, and then I'm gonna pass it to you because I think this is another really good one for you. Um, yesterday being Friday, Evo was doing a lot of panels. Like what Evo's been doing lately is Fridays they use their main stage for panel time, so they get a lot of time to actually like sit down and talk, and we get a lot of announcements. Like it's actually really interesting. We get a lot of stuff there. Uh, SNK again because this is just an SNK day. They announced two games. They announced an art of fighting game, and they announced a Samurai Showdown RPG. I don't think we got any. I don't remember if we got any gameplay.
I don't think we did. I think we just got the announcements. Yeah, you got Hell Pockets up there with them. So, it was just announcements. Yeah, to go in with this, like, so I think it's real interesting that they're going to be doing a new Art of Fighting. Because, like, I know a lot of people that haven't played Art of Fighting 3, like, or, just that series in general, but
Mm-hmm.
the third Art of Fighting was really good. It was a fun game to play. I just think, like, unfortunately, at the time in the fighting game landscape, that was during that period, pretty much when the decline happened.
Mm-hmm.
No one played it, right? Unless they got the Art of Fighting collection and decided to play it. But a lot of the characters, you had your staple characters, Rio and my boy Robert Garcia.
Yeah, your boy. Your boy.
My boy Robert Garcia, the main man who is, you know, people don't know, but he is the main character in my eyes. But that's here nor there.
That character still sucks, but go on.
Oh, hater. Um, but yeah, it's real interesting they're bringing this game back because, like, I thought that, like, pretty much the only time we're going to see art fighting characters is in King of Fighters. So the fact that it's getting its series back, I'm very interested. I'm for sure gonna day one it when it comes out.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I'm more interested in seeing the fighting system on how it's going to be. Is it if it's going to be like classic art of fighting, where it's like it has like kind of like a stamina bar, and you could do special moves based on how much stamina you have. So if you say like you did like one of your big moves and you didn't have enough stamina to, really like do that move, you kind of go into like a negative state where you're pretty much dazed. You can't do anything else until you power back up and get your stamina back. So I'm wondering if they're going to do that system or if they're going to do more of like a traditional Street Fighter system or something like that. I think either way it'll fit. Uh, and yeah, I'm excited to see it. I want to see some gameplay.
It's actually kind of crazy how they announced it. They really did just kind of say it, right? They didn't really do anything. They didn't really give us anything. They just said that that's what they were doing, which is interesting, I think. I mean,
Yeah,
we can say the same thing for the Samurai Showdown RPG. Like basically everything that you said right now, well, at least for the release, can be said about Samurai Showdown at this point, right? Like we know nothing
yeah,
about that either. We just know it's coming.
right. And they said specifically the Samurai Showdown one's going to be an action RPG. So kind of like the branching thing that we got to figure out is, okay, which part of action RPG is it going to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it going to be Diablo style where I'm Haomaru and fucking mowing down people and powering up my abilities to do that? Probably not. Or is it going to be more beat 'em up, or is it going to be you know like focused on a single character? Kind of like going on the soul side of it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to call it a Souls like, but I just mean like as far as RPG goes, you're focused on a single character, building up their stats and all that stuff,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, I just don't. It's again where it's like I don't know where they're going with it. I'm excited, yes. A Samurai Showdown action RPG with all the characters that they have and the story they have sounds great. They got a giant roster to go through that they can easily pick like 5 characters and do an action RPG based on it.
There's only one thing I know about that game without knowing anything.
What's that?
That game is going to be bloody.
Oh yeah, that's rated M
For
all the way.
sure. You know what would interest me, and I know I'm gonna be completely wrong on this, so I'm not using this as a prediction. I'm saying this would be interesting
Mm-hmm.
if it was like Dynasty Warriors style,
Mm.
where you're like mowing down like a ton of people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and yeah, that's like I'm interested. Yeah, that's like one of the things I'm interested to see. If it's like that. Now, if we get it, and then all of a sudden we see Koei Tecmo at the bottom, we know what we're getting.
Oh yeah.
And then I'm for sure like throwing money at it. I don't have to see anything else. Oh, Koei Tecmo is doing this? I'm gonna get me a Stranger in Paradise Part 2, basically? Yeah, I'm in.
Oh, see, that'd be heat. See, that's why I like that they announced it. It's cool that we know it's coming, but at the same time, I wish they would. We could have waited like 6 months.
Yeah, let's show some gameplay with it. Because I think that's like I'm glad they announced it to gauge interest, but don't just do an announcement. Do an announcement and show something.
Yeah, even if it, and I hate this. I hate what I'm about to say. But even if they had like a CG trailer, like something, right? But
Mhm.
the fact that we got nothing, we just know that they're coming. I guess they kind of did the same thing with Mark of the Wolves. Well, that was what 2 years ago.
They at least showed like a little. Well, they showed a logo on that at
Oh,
least.
yeah, that's right. We got a logo. That's right. So we got
But
something.
we saw something. It was like Metroid Prime 4. All we saw was a fucking logo, and everybody was hyped. So
And then they got a decade older, and then we got more gameplay a couple weeks ago.
and then we got gameplay, and it was like, how did they do this?
Yeah, still incredible.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well,
there's really not much to talk about these games. It's interesting that they got announced. I personally am just excited to see what they're going to be doing with them.
yeah, same here. Because like I see the Art of Fighting one. It can go any way. And like they could like literally go, okay, Art of Fighting is more King of Fighters now or something, or it can because that game's gameplay can either be King of Fighters or Street Fighter. It can be either game they want it to be. So I'm just real curious and seeing what they do.
I'm guessing we're not going to get anything until what when is TGS Tokyo Game Shows in a few months. I don't think we're getting anything there. Um,
We might get something there.
I'm not sure because like with Garo, I guess that's the only thing I can really go off now is just Garo with Fatal Fury, Mark of the Wolves. Um, it took them a little while for us to see like actual people in the game.
Yeah, yeah, that's
So I'm guessing
true.
it's gonna be the same thing,
Yeah,
which kind of
but
sucks.
that's also because they got so many games on down the pipe. Like just besides fighting games, like they have another Metal Slug coming out.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's a that's a tactical RPG.
Oh,
Yeah, so that's coming out. I think it's coming out this year, unless they moved it back. But yeah, for sure, there's a Metal Slug tactical RPG coming out.
I'm adding it to my list right now. There we go. All right. This auto played. I don't want to do that. Anything else you want to talk about when it comes to Art of Fighting or the Samurai Showdown?
No, I'm excited.
All right. I think we can go to the next section, which is oh oh.
Oh, it's time.
I put this here. You know what?
It's game
So
time.
we're gonna be talking about Destiny 2. Um,
Mhm.
actually, I want to say something before I start talking about what I'm gonna say.
Okay.
Uh, I am very tired of the hate that Destiny is getting or has been getting.
Right.
Uh, I was the last time we talked about Destiny. I was very, very self conscious talking about it because I knew that people were going to be a little weird about it, right?
Hmm.
I'm here to say, fuck all of you.
That's the spirit.
Yeah, no. I've now been playing this game now for a little bit over a month.
Hmm.
This is the longest stint I've had with Destiny 2. I've come on and off, right? Like I think the last time I played, I think we talked about it was like 2021 when I played Forsaken and another DLC, and I kind of dropped it because it wasn't really hidden like that.
Hmm.
It's hidden now.
Oh, it's him. Okay.
This game this game is doing a lot of good things right now. Is it perfect? No. There is no such thing as a perfect game. But what they're doing right now is great. It's fantastic, and I don't think I'm gonna be stopping playing Destiny ever again. I might take breaks here and there, but yeah, I think I'm gonna be keeping up with the series going forward now.
So it is in your. What you're saying is it's in your constant rotation. It fills up your MMO spot of your rotation.
For right now, yeah. And like I'm gonna take breaks, like when Diablo 4 expansion comes out, I'll probably take a little break from Destiny to play that. Um,
Yep.
when whatchamacallit, the second game is gonna become when Path of Exile 2 comes out later this year. Probably gonna be taking a break from Destiny to play that, right?
Right.
Um, but overall, this game's gonna stay in the rotation. I really want to catch up. I'm still a little behind. I want to catch up. I have been having a lot of fun with Destiny, and I've been playing. I haven't even really done a raid yet. I've still have been having fun.
Yeah. Oh man, that's great. The one thing I found about Destiny, it's very unfortunate what I'm about to say,
Mm-hmm.
just in general. So just like Destiny 1, right? I didn't play I played it at launch and then, kind of in a similar fashion, I played it I I started playing it again when the fourth or it was either the fourth or fifth expansion for Destiny 1. I forget which one it was.
Was it like House of Wolves, like one of the last ones?
Yeah, House of Wolves. So I jumped in like closer to the end of House of Wolves, and I had a blast. It was like it was a complete, like everything I was looking for was there
Mm-hmm.
in a very similar fashion in Destiny 2. And I don't know how they could fix this for a later game or something like that, but it's kind of impossible to do, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
jumping in now, I'm playing a game that I wanted to play at the beginning, right? Like it has everything that I wanted before. It's so much of a better game, and it's yeah, it's just like the House of Wolves situation. It's like they finally got the content right, and now all of it flows, and now all of it feels good. But the unfortunate part is, it's always towards the fucking end of the game.
No, I think you're right. I think there's something to be said about that. For we'll talk about Destiny specifically, right? Um,
Yeah.
Destiny 1, I know people are gonna hate that I'm about to say this too because this is sacrilegious. All right, Destiny 1 wasn't good until Taking King. It took a year for Destiny 1 to be good. And then they built from there. So you got in like 2 years later, or like a year later, when House of Wolves dropped, right?
Right.
But that first year, the game wasn't good. The only reason a lot of people, like myself included, now looking back, stuck with it, because we had so many, there was not as many games to play. And there was, everyone was playing it at the time.
Yep. Yep.
Like in 2014, you couldn't walk past a gamer without them talking about Destiny. And
Oh no.
again, the first year it was awful. It was not a good game. It like for the first year,
Right.
it just wasn't.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Destiny 2 had that same thing. Like we all hopped in, like our whole crew, we all hopped in and we played it, right?
Yep.
We played a lot that first like what, first month, I think.
It was like the first like 2, 3 months until the raid came out.
Yeah.
And then it kind of like the raid came out, and then that was like literally the point where we all got blocked.
Yeah, because we couldn't do the raid,
Couldn't do the raid, so you can't progress.
and we just
And we could only do like the first part of the raid.
and we were just stuck.
What?
We never played again.
Yeah, and we got stuck at the I don't know the chase thing. You know the one with the dogs or whatever.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember that specifically now. You're right. Yeah.
We got stuck on that one, so it was like that pretty much made it to where we couldn't progress past a certain point,
Mm-hmm.
and it kind of it and unfortunately there wasn't very much to do outside of that to progress, and yeah, I think it killed it for everybody.
It had the honestly, it had the beginning of Destiny 2 had the same problems that the beginning of Destiny 1 had. Because Destiny 1 was the exact same way. Like I talked about it earlier, I was stuck at Forever 29 because I couldn't get my last drop. Like at that point though, at least we were able to beat Vault of Glass when that was out. Like me and my
Right.
crew, right? But I was still stuck. I couldn't do anything and there wasn't a lot to do at that time. It took them time to get it ready. I don't know how long it took for Destiny 2 because I played in 2021. I wasn't really a fan then, right? That was like 2 years after the game had come out, right? But that was also during the pandemic. That's also that kind of hurts things too. It hurt. The pandemic hurt everything when it comes to gaming, right?
Mm-hmm.
God,
Yep.
that 2020 year was brutal.
Very brutal.
But right now, as Destiny 2 stands, it is I won't say it's House of Wolves, like, because I think it's good. House of Wolves was also fantastic, but it also built on everything. Destiny 2 took a lot of time to build from, I think, Forsaken, because I think Forsaken, was the expansion that came out in 2021, I believe. Someone will correct me, whatever. That's when they started figuring things out for a game, and they built a lot of systems into the game from there.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah, I
Oh, go
would
ahead.
agree. No, I say I would agree.
And right now, Destiny 2 is, I think, in the best state it ever has been in. I know there are some people that are complaining about some things, like they don't like how the seasonal or the episodes are happening, right? Because before, after we dropped, they started doing things called seasons.
Yeah.
And those seasons were basically like I won't call them expansions. I don't even know what to call them really. But they were basically they're a little bit thing of content that you play for like 3 months. Like it was like a story attached to a battle pass. Is kind of what they were doing, right?
Yeah. So they were doing what Elder Scrolls Online does.
Yes.
But the only difference is Destiny 2 locks you out of that content after the certain period of time.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Elder Scrolls, once you can buy it and there's just you have it permanently.
Yeah, like you can't do any of the like you still can't do any of that seasonal content like if you don't have it, right? From Destiny 2.
Right.
But
Right.
you're able to get a lot of the weapons now. That was a thing that they were having a problem with before. They were sunsetting things. That's something that people really got upset about also was the sunsetting that Destiny 2 was doing, which very valid. You shouldn't it's very difficult to be okay with a company taking things away that you paid for sure. Like I'm not saying that that was wrong. I'm not. But now they've kind of fixed that. We don't get that content anymore. Like the actual story stuff isn't there, but we can get the weapons and all that kind of things are there. The stuff that matters, I guess, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can get that stuff now. There's a lot of content to play. You don't have to just do the raid. Like I said, I've been playing for a month. I haven't done a raid, but I'm close to max level. There are a
Right.
lot. There are a lot of things that we can do now, and it took Destiny 2 a long time to get here, but they're here now.
Yeah. So yeah, it's similar to the House of Wolves. Very, very similar to the House of Wolves situation. In that, like, yeah, you get to a certain point and you're stuck in the beginning, and then now after they ironed it out, you're not stuck, and then actually you can actually play the game and have fun with the game.
Mm-hmm. So right now, we are in part 2 of episode 1, right? Episode they're doing episodes now instead of seasons, which are basically, long story short, they're longer seasons. That's all it is. They just changed the name
Right.
of it.
It's like a 10-week season versus an 8-week.
Yeah, pretty much. Right. They have a new thing called Battlegrounds, where it's basically it's like a harder strike, where you're going in with a fire team and you go through and you do objectives. It's more like that's right, you haven't played. So in the game now, there's also dungeons. There's a lot of things to do. They have dungeons that you can do that are basically like 3-man raids. They have
Mhm.
this seasonal content that you can do, which is basically like a little bit easier than a 3-man raid. Uh, all of the things that you do in the overworld now are better. There's a lot more things to do, which you don't have to. Destiny 1, you're kind of forced to do things in the overworld, like run around
Right.
on like Mars and stuff like that. You don't have to anymore. Like, you're gonna need some for like exotic quests and things like that. The game is now more MMO than ever, because
Right.
there's quests, there's things that you need for your weapons. You can get like exotic catalysts. You can make builds. It's definitely more MMO now than it's ever been, and it took them a long time to get here. Also,
Yeah, I would say it's more MMO and more accessible.
yeah,
'Cause, what the beginning of the game punished. You know, people aren't gonna like hearing this, but the beginning of the game punished the casual player.
it did.
And I know people like, who gives a fuck about the casual player? And like, similar to kind of what Maximilian said about fighting games, I'll say about MMOs. You 100% need the casual player, because if you don't have them, your MMO will just fucking die. It's dead on arrival. Casual players make up about 98% of your game.
Yep, and I think hardcore people don't really realize that is that, you know, like it or not, they're not really making the game for you. There's probably content in there for you that you can enjoy that they'll do, but realistically, like 90% of the content is not for the top 1% of hardcore players in anything.
Yeah, and there are you see the difference between you'll see the difference between like when it started and it was just for the hardcore, and you look at the drop off, right? Um, after 2 months, there was a huge drop off of players,
Mm-hmm.
and pretty much the ones that are here now are the ones that just stuck with it for because they're like, no, I put all this time into it and I ain't dropping it.
Yep.
But imagine if they had all this content, had the stuff for the casual audience so that they can keep up, and then had the stuff for the hardcore audience so they feel like they're doing their thing and getting rewards that they would expect. Having that perfect combination of the two would the game would still have like the massive amount of players it began with.
Mm-hmm.
The drop off would have been far less. We'll just say that.
Because at the end of the day, you just want progress. Like, you want, whenever you're playing a game, any game, right? You want to be able to log in. You want to feel like you made like some kind of progress.
Oh yeah, of course. That was the main thing that after we were doing the raids and stuff, and we couldn't get through the raid, and then I was at like pretty much at the point where I could get as high as I could get without a raid, and like the one piece of raid gear that will always drop from the first what was it, the first area of the raid,
Mm-hmm.
since they only dropped one piece, but it was a specific piece, and it would they didn't drop other pieces, so like everybody was stuck. And that's literally what got me out of the game. I was stuck.
And that's the you can take anything. If you only take one thing away from what I'm saying right now, is the game is now more built for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I haven't done a raid since I've been back. Do I want to? Hell yes. Like, I was a raider, I want a raid, but I haven't, and I'm pretty much max level. Like, I can,
Yeah.
as long as my build's right, I can go into a raid right now. but I can't because my build sucks. But that's neither here nor there. That's not the point. The point is you can play Destiny 2 right now. Obviously, you're gonna have to pay for the DLC to get current content. Not gonna have a choice. Sorry if you hate that. I don't know what to tell you. You can't play every game for free. Sorry,
Yeah.
but you can play through all the content they have now, avoid raids, still be able to build your character, and still be able to build, like, if you want to build a raid character, you could without raid. Like, you're not gonna be able to get raid gear and things like that. But now Destiny's a good point where you don't need that stuff.
Right.
You don't.
Well, it's a progression, right? You could build up to it. So you have your preliminary. So like your raid character that hasn't raided yet, right? You got the gear and the optimizations to make you good at the raid if you actually went into the raid.
Mm-hmm.
But the raid gear would further enhance that.
Kinda.
Kinda? Really?
Yeah. Like, so you can do raid. You will have raid gear that is better for sure. Yes,
Okay.
100%.
Yes. Yes, that's what I mean. Like you would get a piece of raid gear that say you got your chest piece like the way you wanted it for the raid. Another chest piece drops that's better than your current one. You replace that one and get all the stuff for that to be. And once you get it to where the previous one was, it will be infinitely better.
Yes. Okay, I see what you're saying now. Yeah, you can definitely do that. What's nice is you don't need to do the raid to be max level though. Like if you wanna do like little things like you were just saying, like, if you want to do like little things to make yourself better, you can do the
Mm-hmm.
raid. You're mostly really gonna be doing the raid for the weapons. Because you can't get
Got it.
raid weapons anywhere else, right? Like those weapons, some of them aren't even really that good. Let's be honest. But you can you can no matter what, even if you didn't want to do raids, like if you want to just be casual, well, I'm not gonna say casual because that's not right. Like even if you just didn't want to do raids, you didn't want to do those activities, but you still want to be able to do like harder content. There's
Yeah.
things to do now. Like there are, like I said, there are dungeons that they're basically 3-person raids where you go through an area, you have things that you need to do. There's checkpoints there. I'm forgetting the word now, but there's mechanics is the word I was thinking of. There's mechanics and stuff like that.
Got it. Got
So
it.
you
Yeah.
you can do the raid experience without actually going into a full 6-man raid. You can get gear from there too. There are now tiers of things that you can do, and you can still be powerful. You can still be max level.
Right. And that's great. That is that. Yeah, that is really good.
Mm-hmm. All people really need at this point now is time and a chance. Like I think now is a good time for people to get into Destiny 2. And one thing I actually want to mention too before I stop shilling Destiny, because this wasn't what this was supposed to be, but it is what it is now. Whatever. Um, Last thing I want to mention is the fact that I forgot what it was now.
No.
I think once I said I was shilling Destiny 2, my brain wipes. Because this was supposed to be. I was going to talk about what the seasonal content was. Um. Okay, I got it. I think right now is a very good time to play Destiny because the final story expansion happened. Final shape happened. Now there's going to be slowing down a little bit. So now people like us who have fell off but want to get back in actually have a chance to catch up now.
Yeah.
Like I'm pretty sure I can hop off this call and get into a raid and I can beat a raid now. For sure. But I don't have to. I can sit down, I can play other content, I can get exotic quests, I can grind out other weapons, I can grind out other gear. And I can be fine. I don't have to.
Right.
So right now is a very good time for people to hop in, and you don't have to play every day also. I play 3 times a week,
Hmm.
straight up. That's it, and I'm caught up.
That's good.
Yeah, that's it. I actually, you know what? I'll go talk about the seasonal content. I'm good.
Can if you want.
Nah, I'm good. I people should play Destiny 2. I think you know what? This was good for me to just let that out. Honestly,
And this is the advantage of having the separate shows.
we can take our time, do what we want to do, and we talk about games that we want to talk about. Like there's also some other things that we can do on this podcast now, Profit.
What's that?
We can take time to review some games.
Oh shit! And I got a review for you guys today.
Our final segment of the day is going to be a, well, maybe final. We don't know what's going to happen. Is a review. Profit.
Yo yo.
I'm gonna let you do your thing, man. Go for it.
Okay. So, all right, guys. So I'm gonna take the time. I've been, as you guys have heard, I've played a shit ton of Diablo 4 Season 4. And I think now that I finally fucking deleted Uber Lilith
Oh
and got my
yeah.
and completely finished the season, as far as the season journey and all that good stuff goes, I have a good grasp of what the season is, and I just want to give you guys my thoughts and just like a full on review. And yeah, so this is new. We're gonna go with it. Just ride with me with it. Um, so just I just kind of want to start off like this Diablo 4 season, like for me, it just felt like a return to form as it fixed a lot of problems that plagued the game in the first few seasons, and it made a bunch of fundamental changes. Yeah, it made a bunch of fundamental changes that changed the game for the better, and the game it will be able to further build upon. And some of those things is, well, actually, the theme of the season was called the Season of Loot. So for one, that pretty much means all of the current loot in the game was completely overhauled and changed. And what you could do with the loot now has changed also. And so there's a lot of things that happen, also like quality of life changes. We're just going to go through it right here. Um, so with the seasonal loot, one of the things that they changed was that the amount the amount of affixes that they had in the game, they drastically reduced the amount of them. So now you have less of a chance to get a useless affix. Um, Now that doesn't mean you're going to get the perfect one every time. There's going to be times where you get a drop, you look at it, it has one of the stats, but the two other stats suck. But there's things that you can do to kind of put it in your favor, right? Um, the gear that drops now also has a chance to be dropped with 1 to 4 enhanced stats, and these are called masterwork stats. So just in general, just like a quick overview of how that works is, say you're doing some content, you kill something, it drops loot, it has its own unique sound to it now, and it also will have you'll say like, sword, and it'll have like a little star symbol next to it. You go over and highlight it, and you'll see like the stats of the weapon. It'll have between 1 to 4 stars. 1 star is pretty common. 4 stars is the rarest of the rare, and you have to push the higher content to get those. Each one of those stats are enhanced stats that are higher than the normal base stat. So whatever the max of that base stat could be, it is higher than that stat, and that continues as you go on. So to go over some of the things that, like, go over a little bit more in depth of the things that they brought. Tempering. So with the seasonal loot, players can now temper the gear, and you know how before I talked about they decreased the amount of fixes that were in the game. Well, this fixes part of this. This is the thing that gives the players the flexibility to pretty much make their gear into something that enhances their builds. So tempering now allows the player to further enhance their gear by applying affixes to it. Um, and so the starting tiers, each piece of gear can have between one, well, from tiers 1 to 3, can only have one affix on the gear. So usually when you're doing those tiers, you're going to put like, I do a lot of damage to people that are close to me if I'm a barbarian or, or melee necromancer, we'll just say that, or a druid, right? Versus I'm a sorcerer or a ranged rogue, so I do more damage to enemies that are farther from me. You can add fixes like that. On the World Tier 4 gear, which is the ancestral gear, you can add, you can roll 2 affixes. So now this is where it really opens up, and you can really like customize your gear. Um, so the as far as tempering goes, there's 6 categories that you can put on your gear, and it's based on which weapon or which slot of gear that you have. Um, but each one of those categories has a bunch of recipes that you have to get to drop. There's common ones that go across all characters. So there's one called like Worldly Fortune, which buffs their maximum hit points and like a couple other like basic, gives you a couple other basic stats that you can roll on there. And once you get the legendary version of that, which as you go through tiers, the recipes drop in different rarities. And when you get to Wartier 4, of course, you get the legendary version of that drop. Um, that's that one, since it's across all characters, every character will have that recipe and it'll just be unlocked for all of them. The main thing you got to get is the one specific to your class. So, like barbarians, we want the berserking ones or the furious ones or or the ones like that. We have to get those drops. And once we get those drops, we can add stuff like Bash now hits like multiple targets. It cleaves enemies now and does extra damage. Of course, me being the tier guy, trying to go for a top tier build, when I was doing when I did a bash spec, that was like literally on all pieces of gear it was probably like the main staple for like all the gear that could use the attack stat were basically, oh, okay, I'm gonna make it so my bash cleaves every time I hit bash. Or if I'm on my Heartseeker rogue, Heartseeker has a chance to do double attack whenever you attack. And then there's other ones like, lucky hits stun people, or they freeze people, or you have a chance to do 5,000 poison damage, what have you. There's a huge array of stuff that you can put on your gear, and it's really cool and it's really fun for customizing. I'll get to the downsides of it a little bit later after I go through everything, but the major plus from this is gear diversity. Oh, well, not gear diversity, build diversity. It's starting to bring out that build diversity that people were looking for, and it goes beyond the Paragon board and beyond, just doing your average builds. You know, Masterworking. So on top of being items dropping and being able to be a masterwork drop, masterworking is now a way a player can level the gear um, after they applied 2 affixes from tempering, unless it's a unique, and unique you could do it right away. So every time you level up your piece of gear, it gains 5% to all affixes on the gear. So those things I was talking about from tempering, they get boosted by 5%. All the stats on your gear also get boosted by 5%. So you can see it's a big power creep as you're going and leveling up your pieces of gear. Um, so the first 3 levels increase the max stat, the minimum and maximum stat by 5%. And on the fourth level, it will choose a stat to boost by 25%. And this is very important. It will choose a stat. And this can happen up to 4 times because you can, no, it happens 5 times. Even though there's 12, you can level up 12 times. The final one will also give you one more. So this happens up to 5 times. And you could get almost all your stats boosted, or like it will pick certain ones. It's random which one it picks. And random for masterworking and tempering is the name of the game. So you got to get lucky on uh, where the masterworking is. But there's another thing too. You pay a lot of money and you revert your masterworking down to 0, and you go for it again and try to get it to roll that specific stat, or masterwork the specific stat. Um, there was a big quality of life change that I just want to point out that happened on the season, uh, and that was the compendium. The compendium is probably the best damn thing they added to the game. And what it does is, before, when you had your aspects, when you smelted your gear, or just like deconstructed your gear with an aspect on it, it would give you a recipe that filled up your damn inventory. So now, and you also had to hold on to it before. Now, when you get rid of an item, and it automatically goes in. If it's a higher aspect, it will automatically go into the compendium, and you will always have that forever. So maxing out your compendium is actually a thing, and it will allow you to like immediately get into the game and get your builds going, which it's a lifesaver. And especially, like, I know there's my druid, all 2 of us druid players out there needing the pulverized one. Oh, we have it right at the beginning of next season because it's going to carry over from this season to next season. You know, going forward. Uh, the other thing that they did was more than quality of life. It literally like changed leveling in the game, and you're not stuck at the low levels. The world tiers actually matter now. Which world tier you choose gives you more XP and more gold the higher the world tier you go to. So it is more of a thing now to get yourself to the highest world tier so you can get the maximum amount of experience possible. And yeah, that it's really cool. You spend less time in the lower end, more time at the high end. And due to the Helltide updates, where pretty much you do the summons, and you know and you're going through the Helltides, which is a big part of the lower level now. You level a hell of a lot faster than you did before, and you're just getting into the game. You're getting into the meat a lot faster, and it's great. So speaking of Helltides, the Helltides are now a way for a player to blast through the early game and also get gear on top of that. Helltides are now spread across all world tiers, and they give significant amounts of XP and gear as you do them. So, like, if you're a player that played like 2 or 3 seasons ago, you skip the campaign, you could jump straight into a Helltide and start getting your leveling experience going. and it goes by super quick with the new previously mentioned updates to the world tier. So if there's one thing I noticed like throughout doing all of it was there's almost no chance that you go into a Helltide and you'll leave empty-handed. Most times you have to teleport back to like sell all the gear that you have in order to make room or like put it in your staff or something. Um, and the one thing I was talking about before was the summoning because there's like a little summoning area that requires 3 hearts. Uh, Before, when you did that, you would just like summon something. You wouldn't really get any extra loot. But now that you add, if you're one of the players that add a heart to the summoning thing now, you get a buff that will give you more loot when the boss gets killed after she spawns, or after it spawns, I should say. Um, and the one thing that is really cool now about the summoning thing, since it has such good rewards, you do a summon and say you're by yourself and you summon the thing, it's like calling the Avengers or it's putting up the bat signal because all of a sudden you'll see like a horde of people just popping out of nowhere coming to do the event. And then a lot of times they just stay and just keep doing the event after that. So that's like one of the really cool things that happened this season. They were there before, but they weren't as good as they are now. Um, the other thing too now is the Hell Tides have well they always had it, but now they're kind of overhauled. They had the Hell Tide chests. Uh, so as you're doing the summoning and as you're doing the things across the Hell Tide, you gain I think they're called cinders, which is the currency to open the chest. Um, there's two to, like at the later levels. I would say World Tier 3 and 4, mainly 4. There's 2 to 3 big chests per area, and then there is a bunch of like smaller chests. The 2 to 3 big chests in the area, they're more like a random one's a random assortment of drops, and another one is drops like a bunch of like the summoning materials for in game. So you always want to do those, and plus you get the Iron Wolves rep and all that stuff. That's part of the season. Um, so beyond that, all the chests from the Helltide, the other ones that aren't the big ones, they give loot based on what the icon is. So you go over, it's a say it's an armor icon, but you go over to the actual chest, it says boots, you'll get a bunch of boots. And every single chest has a chance to drop a unique. Not I'm not sure if they drop uber uniques, but they for sure will drop they have a chance to drop a unique whenever you open them. So the more you open, the better your chances are to get it. Um, yeah, as far as hell ties go, those are like really, really, really cool now. And like one of the last things I want to go over is the end game. So the end game now has plenty of stuff for players to do. Um, the main things is like stuff they're built upon from like the last couple of seasons. You could summon Uber bosses and just summon bosses to focus farm unique gear. But they also added a new mode called the Pit. And this is the biggest part of the in game right now is how high you could push your pit tiers. And so to explain what the pit is very similar to the challenge rifts in Diablo 3. Um, where the player gets a set time to complete the they jump in the portal and they get a set time to complete it. And if they do complete it within the time, they'll get even more rewards. That's how the current pit works. Like if you don't do it within the time, they don't kick you out right away. Diablo 3 was a little bit more punishing; they just kick you out. Um, so The main challenge is pushing the pit, getting it before the time runs out, and then getting the rewards from it. Every pit tier you do gives a well, every pit tier you do increases the level of the enemies and increases the which essentially increases the encounter difficulty. So as you're going through, you'll also see that you get the materials to masterwork your gear, which is what makes the pit super important. The higher you push, the more items the more stuff you get for being able to masterwork your gear, and the faster you can do that. And yeah, it's like a really cool thing that like fits in the loop. It doesn't feel out of place. It's really really cool, and it's also very important to your power. So just kind of put this all together. Or my ending thoughts. I feel like this season is the first season where I was actually compelled to play every class. I was able to get 3 classes to level 100, which was Barbarian, Druid, and Rogue. I killed, I powered up all my gear and stuff, and my Paragon, got my Paragon board right, got all my glyphs and all that stuff, and I was able to solo Uber Lilith on my Barbarian, like finally after putting everything together. And I also got a Necro to level 91 and a Sorcerer to 77. Each class felt fun in their own way. They all had their pluses and minuses. But when you put all the new pieces together along with the old, it becomes a complete package. And pretty much, frankly, one that I feel like a dick by saying this, but oh well, they did it, not me. Um, this should have been the game they put out right out the gate. Is how I feel. And for players out there or people listening that are on the fence about playing it now, this is a perfect time to play it because all the things that I talked about were also added to um, the Eternal realm. So everything that's out there right now, they added to both realms, the seasonal and the Eternal. So you could try it out for yourself there. Um, uh, and actually, this season helped in showing me like kind of like the way of progression that you should. I'm not saying that you should go. I'm just saying like the progression of power. It was kind of like nebulous before, but now it's more apparent with all the pieces that you have in play now. So say like for an instance, on my journey to killing Uber Lilith, on my journey to killing Uber Lilith, I found out that certain things had like more power than what I thought. Um, so like I would die at certain phases and I'd be like, okay, I'll level up again. And by leveling up, I meant like I would go out, I would burn through a whole bunch of nightmare dungeons and level up all my Paragon glyphs. Because at one point I just had them all at level 15. But I figured out once you get them to like 21, they're pretty much super powered. So you want to always power up your glyphs to the max. The other thing is this is where the min maxing part of the game came. And at first, I was just pretty much, I was putting a new imprint on something that looked better and then just tempering it to get, the stuff. And I didn't really care after that. I had to meticulously look at the stats. And this is where the gambling came in part of the game. I would look at the stats and I'll be like, okay, I'm not going to get all 3 of these stats that I need. I need to get at least 2. And then I can go to the the guy that imprints your gear. They can also change a certain specific stat. So I would have to get 2 pieces, change the useless stat to the good stat, and then do tempering. And that's where all my fits came, was from fucking tempering. Because I would get one of the affixes and the second affix would brick the gear, and I couldn't use it. It was just I would have the perfect roll gear, and then one affix would roll, and the second one would brick it, and I'd be like, "Wow." So there's a lot. I won't say that's the negative. That's part of what the new system brings. There's a lot. It's a gambling system. You're gambling with that gear, and then the other thing too is you're also gambling with changing that stat. So, but in order to do the in-game stuff, you have to do it. Like you have to like start min-maxing your gear and getting the proper stats, the proper fixes, you know, and then all of that combines together. It makes you a brick shit house, and you can fuck up Lilith anytime you want. So yeah, like I figured out like what I would do differently. Like the next time the next season, how I'm going to go about it. But it was real eye opening. But if we're going to give it a score, I would say out of five. Out of five, I would give it like a 4.5 out of five. I really enjoyed this season. Um, I leveled up more characters than I leveled up any season, and took them to max and got them. Was actually farming gear and trying to get their builds working, and having fun seeing all that. So that really like cemented it for me. And the negative, my point five is druids. I love druids. Druids have one piece of gear that is super hard that is like the hardest piece to get to drop, but controls about 20 of their builds. Blizzard, do better. That's all I can say about that. Everything should not require the Tempest Roar. That's all I'm going to say. But yeah, I really enjoyed the season. It was great, and I had fun. So I hope like anybody that was kind of on the fence about Diablo 4, or kind of like you know jumped out, kind of like we did. I jumped out after season one.
Mm-hmm.
I stopped for 2 seasons. No, actually season two. Sorry, I jumped out after season two, the vampire season. But I didn't do the next season, and then I jumped back in this season. So anybody is like me that jumped out at a certain point, it is totally worth jumping back in and playing. There's a lot of things to do. There's a lot of stuff that goes together. The gear system, the pit, um, just like everything. Everything is so much more fun now, and the game is only going to build upon it. So I can't wait to see what they do next, which is Spiritborn. And yeah, no, yeah, that's pretty fun. That's my review.
Man, look, I'm not gonna lie. It was awesome sitting here listening to you talk about this. This was fantastic.
Nice, nice.
Now I have a couple questions for you about
Okay,
Diablo season 4. Some of these I know, but I think some of these will be just good to talk about.
okay, yeah, yeah,
The first one, the tempering system.
yes,
Did you ever feel like you didn't have enough materials to temper? And do you think that there was a point where you felt like you had to grind to temper for your characters?
never, not once, and I'll tell you why.
Mm-hmm.
So I never needed materials for tempering the whole time I was doing it. Mainly because like as you're doing the core loop of it, so you're getting the gear to temper. A bunch of that gear is going to be useless. So like my first, literally on my first 2 to 3 characters I was literally disenchanting and damn it, what the hell is that called? You go to the blacksmith. I destroyed all my gear basically,
Mm-hmm.
and I so by doing that for 2 to 3 characters from 1 to like 90 before seeing gear that I was actually trying to temper, Oh man, I didn't run out at all of any tempering materials,
Nice. Okay.
and the fact that it didn't cost money is even better. The masterwork can cost money, but the tempering doesn't.
Another question. This one actually, I'm actually curious about too. The first one I kind of knew, but it was actually nice to talk about. Uh,
Hmm.
for your characters that you got to level 100, did
Yeah.
you did you feel did it feel like it took you a long time to get those characters leveled up, or like how do you feel about the level 1 to 100 system that's in Diablo now compared to how it was in base game slash season 1?
Oh God, it's night and day. So in base game, I only got a druid to 65, and then it was like it was the Diablo 2 grind, which I don't care, Diablo 2 fans. That game is it was great when it came out, but now it's too old and it's too fucking slow.
Agreed.
Especially if you came from Diablo 3, which is get you to the end game so you can actually play the game, right? Like let's not like sugarcoat this shit. Like the old Diablo 2 slow grind stuff, it only works in certain games, and this one ain't it. Action RPGs have gone far past that, and even like Path of Exile doesn't even do that system. They level you along so you can get to in game.
Hmm.
So, um, yeah, like I just feel like I level basically. If I went on my Necro right now and took an hour to do it, he'd be 100.
Oh yeah, that's nice. Okay.
So I would say the leveling now is way better. It is, you're going to waste less time at the lower levels and getting to the meat of the game.
And my final question. I feel like I know the answer to this one, but I should ask.
Yeah.
Are you excited now with how the systems are in place? Are you excited for the next season of Diablo 4?
So we talked about this like a few weeks ago. At first, and this is what I was going to say when I say at first. At first, I was like, you know what? I might skip the season and just jump into the expansion, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't, I was like, I don't see anything, significant, for the next season. But I'm seeing more stuff on season 5, seeing how it's adding to the end game. So now I'm super fucking curious on how the end game is going to play out now with that new system. So I'm probably going to not run as many characters this time. I'm probably going to run like, Barb or, you know, my favorite class to complain about, Druid. And, take them as far as I can take them and see, the new end game. But yeah, I am now excited to do that. And after doing this and what it took to take out Uber Lilith and finding out more about the game and getting more into the systems of the game, I am for sure more excited.
That's awesome. That was a. I already said it. I think this review was the well obviously was the very first, but I think this was the best game to review first, and I think you were the best person to establish our review system. I think uh this was really nice to listen to.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'm glad. Yeah, and probably when you guys watch this, you'll be seeing the footage of me running through, and I did a few pit pushes, and they're all unedited. So I do die in like one of them, and then there's another one where I'm wandering around like a maniac because I didn't see the portal spawn
Not
at the end of the pit.
you shouldn't have said that; they wouldn't know.
All right, we got to edit that out and bleep out what I just said.
Nah, professional. You're a professional. It's all good.
I'm pro. I'm pro being pro, baby.
But yeah, that I think that's our episode.
Nice.
Man, this was This was the inaugural episode of the Command Grab. Uh, if you made it this far, thank you. Like we said, we're gonna be doing everything's gonna be more broken up now. This is actually was great because we actually got a lot more time to talk about video games. Usually, we talk about wrestling for an hour and a half, and then we talk about we talk about gaming for like 20 minutes because we're already at time. So I think breaking this up was a fantastic idea.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And looking at the runtime now, it is running about the exact time as our wrestling, episodes. So yeah, it was the best call.
But with that, thank you all for stopping by. We appreciate you, and we will see you in the next episode.
Yeah, see you guys in the next episode, and drop some comments down in the drop some comments down there. We'll read them all, and give us some feedback for future episodes. And shit, maybe even suggest a game or two that you want me to play and review. I'll do that too.
Yeah. I won't.
So,
Profit will do that. I'm not that nice.
like, comment, subscribe. Get back at us.
Later, y'all.
Later, guys.